All right, so we're back here once again on another Wednesday night edition of Couch Coach Live here under the lights here on Couch Coach Live. What's going on, Maui?
What's up, man? How's everything?
Everything good, man. You know, just another day. How's the fourth?
I rearranged my room. Chilled at the crib, made some food and rearranged my room. You know what I'm saying? And people probably say that's crazy, but for my job, I hardly have a weekday off like that. So I was like,
Yeah,
I was gonna do it last weekend. I was like, man, that's right, I'm off the fourth. Hell yeah, I'm gonna do that. How was yours?
it was good, man. Just had a cookout at my mom's house. Everybody
That's what's
came
up.
through, and it was fun, man. Just kicking back with the family. Just grilling out, like you said, on a Tuesday, which is
Right.
very odd, to say the least. But hey, being off on a Tuesday, it
Hey,
felt kind of good. It felt kind of
so
good.
I met some family members. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Since you're coach, just your couch coach.
Hmm.
And when it's the cookout, man, don't no family members come to you and start talking that sports talk, start asking questions like, what about about ESPN getting rid of all those people in the draft? Ain't nobody don't be asking you them type of questions, or y'all get to a deep discussion.
Just my uncles, but we talk all the time, so it's kind of one of those where
Right,
it's like we get it. We talk about stuff. We just watched some of the summer league game.
right.
That what was it was the one from Monday night, but it came on again. The
Hmm.
Spurs and the Hornets. So we talked about that. We talked about some stuff, and but yeah, we from time to time. Just my uncles. Everybody else, they
Yeah,
don't. Everybody else don't care. The women in the family don't care about sports. So it's like so
know what they doing.
yeah. So yeah, but most of them, yeah, they do, and it just depends on who's up there, and yeah. But yeah, sometimes they do it, especially when it comes to football season. It's always a debate or something or
Hmm.
something going on. But yeah, they talk about it. But yep. But yeah, man, it's normally how it happens around my family.
Right.
But yeah, we got a great show lined up for you tonight. Obviously, with the 4th of July, it was a very slow day. I mean, obviously, we all know about Joey Chestnut, aka the glizzy the glizzy guy. Pause. The glizzy killer.
Mm.
It had 62 hot dogs in the hot dog competition. Pretty much, it was canceled yesterday, but he just like, you know what, let that be light, and we're gonna get it done. So he got that squared away, and then obviously we a new contestant named Elizabeth Glizzy Lizzie Salgado. So that was an interesting subplot yesterday as well, and also too the other thing, it's a really slow news day when there was a story of Bronny James and Sharif O'Neal getting kicked out of Saweetie's party. So
Right.
it was a very slow week in sports this week. But hey, we're still gonna continue on with our NBA free agency.
Right.
We'll go over our pretty much our this is like the aftermath kind of our Sunday show where we broke down the free agency, but now we're gonna pretty much what we're gonna do is gonna do some power rankings post free agency and pre Dame Lillard trade. So without further ado, what we're gonna do, we're gonna kick that intro and we'll be right back here on Couch Coach Live. We'll be right back. Yes, and we like that. Shout out to our guy Captain Kirk on the
Right.
outro, the intro. So before we get started, this week's Couch Coach Live is watched by the good folks at Goalie. Head over to goalie.com, use the promo code Couch Coach at checkout. So Let's get to it, man. So we obviously, and shout out to our guy Da Damian Adams that came on our Sunday night show. Pretty much, if you got a chance, always check that out. We kind of talked about free agency, what we liked, our dislikes, and what have you. So there's pretty much a second part series to this, essentially. Well, we're gonna go over the Eastern Conference. What we're gonna do first was we're gonna do our Eastern Conference and West Conference power rankings from 1 to 10. So pretty much the first six in, and then the final four in the essentially the play-in tournament. That's what we see now, and obviously this will probably change when we do when we do the NBA preview in October. It probably will subject to change, but
Mm-hmm.
it's July 5th. It's a healthy exercise, and it was a slow day, a slow week in the world of sports in the last 72 hours since we went on air. So why not? So we're gonna do the Eastern Conference first. So what I'm gonna do first, so how we're gonna do it is essentially um, we'll name our top six first, and then we'll do our play-ins last for the
Okay.
Eastern Conference. All right, so I'm gonna get you to go. You can go first. All right, so we're gonna go with your Eastern Conference. Who's gonna be your number one team in the Eastern Conference?
So just read the teams. Don't give no information. You just
Yeah,
okay. I got you.
no,
I
no,
got
I just see, yeah, you just get like some analysis
you. Okay. I
for
got
it.
the Bucks,
Mm-hmm.
76ers, Boston, Knicks, Miami.
Okay.
Um, but I think the Bucks is still the best team in the East. I just think that a lot of people was hurt, and I felt like they got rid of the coach. I'm sure they just re-signed Crowder, so I'm sure they're going to play him more. I think Giannis going to have something to prove, even though it's the only thing that I is a negative is maybe the new coach, but it may be a positive also. Um, and then they re-signed Middleton. They got Lopez. When you really look at the lineup, and they got Beasley. So when you really look at everything, you're like, man, they got plenty of shooting guards. They got plenty of power forwards. They got a couple of centers. They really loaded on the low. They got to me, they loaded to the point if somebody get hurt, that if they could just still play within the system, then let's say Giannis get hurt for about a month and a half, they should have enough depth and on their bench that they still should be able to pull out some games and still stay in the top three. You know what I mean? Until Giannis come back. So I got them at number one. I got the 76ers at number two. I still think there's some things there that they need to take care of. You know, and I think like Harden, like I would just get rid of Harden just because I feel like their young core. Um, I think he more of a distraction right now, and I think the young core would keep them with her. Well, if and then with Nick Nurse there, I think the coach is going to change a little bit. Won't all be on Embiid. Um, Pat Bev is there, you know what I mean. But um, and then I want to know what they're going to do with Tobias Harris. I think they really. I would let Harden Harris go and see what else they can get. Um, I think losing Smart. I got Boston next, so losing Smart. I think Smart was the heart and soul of that team, and I think by him being gone, I think it ain't gonna be the same, and we're gonna still start having those conversations about Brown and Tatum splitting up. Because I think really, I'll be honest with you, I think they just cut their body. You know what I mean? There's a slow bleed since Smart going. I'm gonna give it to the Knicks. The Knicks really didn't do much, but they did re-sign Josh Hart. He can come off the bench or start. But I do wish that they would make Randall like a third option rather than a second option. Um, and I think he'll play more free. I think he got too much. I think he's a guy that don't like a lot of responsibility. I think he want to be able to move around. And then Miami. You know, I put Miami where Miami is because I felt like the Knicks should have beat them and Boston should have beat Miami this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I got Miami there because they lost Gabe, but I still think they got coaching. Their team is still somewhat the same. So we'll see what happens. You know, they get Dane, they may be like in at least one or
Oh
two.
yeah, oh for sure. And who was your sixth person? Your 16 because you had Milwaukee,
Um,
Philly, Boston, Knicks,
Now it's
Miami.
weird. it's weird because that's why I love the playing game because I put the Cavs there, but I really don't think the Cavs. I think Cavs is a playoff team. They remind me of the Nuggets and Utah when they was always in the playoffs, but they you didn't really look at them to do anything. I do think the Cavs can make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to make a push because I don't think Mitchell and was it Garland.
Mhm.
I don't. I think they play okay together, but I don't think they're a championship team. I think they need to. I would use Garland to get some pieces for that team. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
I saw that in the playoffs this year. But that's my six.
So you're six. Okay. Mine's I think number one is definitely got to be to me it's gonna be Boston. I think
Okay.
coupled with and Porzingis, even with the news today of them getting Grant Williams going to Dallas, it's gonna be a little interesting. But I definitely think them adding Porzingis, and I think Porzingis is could be somewhat of a if he could become an all-star caliber player, almost kind of how he was in Washington last year. I definitely think that's going to help this team exponentially. And I think like you do lose Marcus Smart, but it's like addition by subtraction. So, and I think it's one of the things where it's about time that Tatum and Brown become leaders of this team. Like it's they have to be leaders of this team. And then I just like what they've done as far as bringing in Sam Cassell as well as their assistant coach. I forgot who was their top assistant. So Boston, I think will be coming in is gonna be number one. Milwaukee's gonna be number two for me. I think you keep it Chris Middleton, the low uh, now the Lopez twins are now together. So they're now together, both of them together, Robin and Brooke. And then I think Crowd, I think that spoke volumes for him to resign. They see that there's still some value in it. The only thing is, Adrian Griffin, the head coach, I think he'll be fine because he comes from somewhat of a solid foundation NBA coaching wise. It's one that's kind of a coaching candidate that essentially just came out of nowhere. Adrian Griffin been putting in work for years, so I think he should be fine as far as that. I think number three is the Sixers now. This obviously, obviously that has everything standing here on July 5th. With Harden still on his lineup, so I think definitely having Pat Bev, then also Nick Nurse is their head coach. I think that's a solid pickup for them as well. So I think coupled with that, getting Pat Beverly, surprisingly, the Knicks are number four for me. There, I think the acquisition of getting Dante DiVincenzo, the MOP from Villanova, by way of Sacramento. But anyway, now you can pretty much have that Villanova trio and Hart, also Jalen Brunson and DiVincenzo. So I look at that team, and then also too, I think them getting rid of Obi Toppin. I think that's another one where he was in Thibodeau's doghouse, so why not essentially get rid of him? So I think they're another solid team. The fifth is going to be Cleveland. I did like the move of them getting Strauss as well. I think Cleveland is getting there, and I think that's one thing where it's because I thought they were going to make at least make it to the second round this year. I definitely thought they were going to beat the Knicks, but they didn't. So it's one of those where can they go over that hump? And if you look how it is now, they will be playing again in the first round if everything comes to kind of fruition for as far as my power ranking. So how they're going. Then also getting Niang. Also, I think that's another solid pickup for them. I think Cleveland just got to, second year in this system, especially with Donovan Mitchell. I think they'll be fine. I think they could be a team, even though I got them slotted at 6, they could win about 45 to 50 games.
They got LeVert too, right?
Yeah, I think, he re-signed with them. Yeah, he re-signed with them. Yep. And then the Heat. I think that's my 6th team is the Miami Heat. I think, and this is currently constructed. So, like we said, this is post free agency, pre-Dame, potentially. So I do like, obviously, them losing Strauss and Vincent and Gabe Vincent, but then you bring in a guy like Josh Richardson, which we talked about him on Sunday, where I think if Josh Richardson essentially if he is the Josh Richardson that he was in Miami, before they traded him away for Jimmy Butler, I think he'll be great. I think him going back into that system will pay huge dividends for them. And even though you lose those two guys, I wouldn't say he's going to replace their production, the two of those guys' production, but he'll definitely help a lot, especially from that 3-point shooting aspects. I think he'll definitely be a welcome commodity. So we did our first 6 in the Eastern Conference. Who are going to be the 4 teams that's going to be in a play-in in the Eastern Conference? Who you got?
And you know what's crazy? This can really change these last 4.
Yeah.
I think I was reaching. Okay, I got the Hawks. With the new coach. They lost Collins and Lou Will retired. I really, maybe you can help me. I really didn't see them get anybody. I still think they kind of like a rebuild, but we're talking about, maybe being in a playing game. So anything can happen mid-season. You know what I mean? I really didn't see any. I just feel like they kind of, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I really don't know. Like, I'm sitting here like, okay, but I just feel like Trey and, what's my man's name? They used to play for the Spurs.
Javante Murray. Javante Murray. Yeah.
Dejounte Murray. I feel like they could still make a push to get there, and I hope that the organization can figure out to get some pieces to really push them. But I feel like they backsliding more than moving forward. I got them at 6. I got your Bulls there. And maybe you can hit me. I feel like I didn't like putting them there because I feel like they still got a lot of weapons that they can have there. I know they signed the was it Kobe?
Yeah, they re-signed Kobe White. Yeah. They
Yeah, and
re-signed Kobe White.
I know that you was really happy with that, and I'm happy with that too. But
Yeah.
I think so with that, I believe with any team, they still got a lot of players that's been there for a while, and then
Yeah.
even with the coach. So I feel like, man, we might mess around, man. They might take that Miami or that Knicks spot for real if they just control their injuries. And hopefully Zach and DeRozan can find that chemistry. Um, did they sign what's his name? Vujovic? What's his name? The center.
Yeah, they re-signed them. Yeah.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Man, it's about keeping the core together. All right.
No.
That was the Bulls. I got the Pacers there, man. I really like Bruce. Um, I really like how they gave Tyrese Halliburton that extension. I think he's nasty, and I'm
Yeah.
hoping that he step in this season. Like, okay, the Kings is doing it. Let me do it. Let's get my team here. I like that they signed Bruce Brown, got that money. And it's what's his name? Jared Walker.
Oh yeah, the draft pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that he give him a little more physicality, but I threw them in there. I feel like they got Miles Turner and they still got Miles Turner and Buddy Hill too,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
I feel like that's why I put them there. I feel like if they got another season, they're young, they can make a push, especially once people start getting their money, they can start
Mm-hmm.
focusing on let's get this chemistry and get to these playoffs. And then I put the Nets there. They got Lonnie Walker. They got Bridges. I think Dame should go there. You know what I mean? But I don't know if he is. But
Yeah.
the Nets has been there. They ain't got no big stars, but to me Nets is one of those teams that got heart because KD and Kyrie was always getting hurt. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think they can still make their way. Um, you
Okay. So I got number 7. Actually, I got the Nets.
for
Um,
real?
I like them. They're intriguing. Obviously, I think
Me
them
too.
getting Dennis Smith Jr.,
Yeah.
Lonnie Walker, I like that.
Hmm.
Obviously, because pretty much your core is Miles Bridges, Cam. Look, I got Cam, look Cam, my nephew Cam,
Hmm.
and then Claxton is there,
Right.
and then
Then
you
with it.
kind of then you kind of want to see what Ben Simmons is going to do.
Right.
I think Ben Simmons is intriguing. Like if he can, he's one of the ones where if he gets his act together, and if he can get his act together, and I know it's not 2020 or 2019, but if he can get his act together, or if they can get something in return for him, that's definitely gonna be a good spot. I think Brooklyn is definitely that seven seed in the East potentially. With the Pacers, I think the Pacers are going to be 8. I do like the acquisition of Bruce Brown, and then I think I mentioned a little bit earlier the Open Toppin. Him going to Indiana, and I think he'll go to a great place where I think his coach will give a damn about him and Rick Carlisle. So I think and he'll develop him very well. So I definitely think and obviously what they got Matherin, they got Halliburton, Matherin, Miles Turner. I mean, their future is bright in Indiana, especially when you got a great coach, Rick Carlisle, who's going to get the best out of their players. So kudos for that. At number 9, I got the Orlando Magic. I think the Orlando Magic is going to be. They're a team to me. They're like a league pass team. I think if you like, if think about yourself now, it's a snowy December night on a Wednesday night, and the Magic is playing. They'll keep you warm at night and entertained.
Are you serious?
Yes, I think they are a really good team, and I think you just look at everything coming together. Everything comes together. Obviously, you got Banchero there. You got Wendell Carter Jr. You got Markelle Fultz. You got some Franz Wagner. They got a good shot. They got a good team. I do, and I even like the Anthony Black pick. Even though I know my nephew Cole, he almost about to be buried in that depth chart in Orlando at the point guard position. But I really like that team. Is going to be really, really exciting. I definitely think they're going to be a play-in team for sure. And then obviously Joe Ingles, I think he could give them somewhat veteran leadership. He can shoot some threes from time to time. And I definitely think this Orlando Magic team is going to be a play-in team. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but they'll be in that log jam from 7 to 10. I wouldn't put a guarantee on it, but I definitely think that's going to be a legitimate shot. And to round up my 10 is going to be Chicago Bulls. I think, and they might be a little bit slighted, a little higher. Just depends on how everything goes, because this is all subject to change. Because obviously, we're still seeing some other transactions happen throughout the turnpike. So, it is what it is. But I do like the fact that they did get Javon Carter. I don't necessarily think he's going to be what Lonzo Ball was, what Lonzo Ball was, prior to his injury, where this team was hitting on all cylinders. Probably one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. When Lonzo Ball was running the show,
right?
So you get him, good perimeter defender. So I think that's a good for Chicago. And then Torrey Craig, I think he's definitely, especially when it comes to, we're so like, I wouldn't say we raise a thin at the forward position, but I think he could definitely provide some depth from time to time. And both of these guys do have great shoot numbers. I think they shoot, I think 40 and 42% from the three. So I think that's great for Chicago. But I can see them maybe higher than 10. But it's such a log jam in the Eastern Conference. But I think the West is going to be even more. But I could definitely see this 7 through 10 kind of be interchangeable. But yeah, I definitely think it's going to be. I think it's going to be the Nets, Pacers, the Magic, and the Bulls to round on my top 10 in the East.
Do you think your Bulls need more height?
Not necessarily. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, you can like, that's kind of one of those ways, like you can have it and you can't have it. Like, it's one of those ways, like, I mean, it would help to have height, but I don't think it's kind of one of those things that's like a glaring need for this team. Their really biggest issue was perimeter, having a perimeter defender.
Mm-hmm.
And they was able to kind of clean that up. So it's going to definitely be interesting. And then, a point guard for sure. Like, obviously, with I guess say LaMelo, Lonzo Ball being injured and out pretty much which possibly could be a career ender for him, unfortunately, potentially. But but
You
yeah,
um who would you rather keep if you had to get rid of one of them, DeRosa or Levine? Which one would you get rid of if you had to get rid of one?
it, I mean, I don't mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it probably would be potentially. It just depends on what we get for him, because it's kind of one thing. Like if you get rid of Zach Levine, what we gonna get in place, and same thing for DeRozan. If it's somebody I think we probably can command more, it's possibly. I'm thinking maybe possibly Zach Levine might give more of a bigger haul potentially, and it just
So
depends on where he goes too.
all
So
right, so
either
you
or.
would give him up if you got what pieces would you like for Zach? Is what I'm saying.
I mean, I will at least I want an all star and some draft picks. At least I wouldn't say a superstar, but an all star. I want an all star
So what's
or an
I
all
mean?
star or an all star caliber player.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. Who would you? I don't know. I'm just trying to. I don't know. Would you take a Dinwiddie and a few? If you can get like, nah, maybe not Dinwiddie.
No,
Not
yeah, no.
Dinwiddie.
It was if it's like I know with Portland, this whole 3-way deal thing,
Mm-hmm.
because the way they have it slotted is essentially Dame goes to Miami, Zach goes to Portland. We get Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson and some picks. Tyler Hero is essentially he's a 20-point per game scorer in the league, and that's on that Miami team. So he probably could score a little bit more with us, and he could potentially be a All Star caliber player. Like I think that like I would be okay with that. What you can get, and he's younger. So it's kind of one of those where it just depends on the haul for it. Because like I don't know about DeMar Rose. I think because of his age, I don't necessarily think you'll get so much for him per se.
Right.
It just depends. It's one of those where I would love to keep both, but whoever gives us the best return, which it probably would be Zach Levine, probably more likely than that. But either or, they're both two all star players.
Right.
So to me, I feel as though at least we got to get something back in return for that. You
I
can't
need.
just give me like a 15 point per game
Right.
score, or just a run the mill guy, rotational
I
guy. No,
don't.
I need a superstar.
I would think that Zach is younger, and you probably get. But I think DeRozan might have a bigger name, maybe for a consistent
Yeah,
score. He is an all star, though, right?
both. Yeah, both of them all star.
Both of them are all star, right?
They've been an all star. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
yeah,
I just was curious, man, because I
yeah.
just when I watched it, the way I did it, I was looking at all the teams. There's a lot of teams that's making they're not really breaking their core down. And I was looking at the Bulls. I was like, man, they may be all right because y'all got a lot of the same players that's been there for a long time.
I mean, it just depends. I mean, it just depends on how you look at it. Because sometimes you can look at it from a standpoint like last year. They didn't make the playoffs, but you got to think to yourself, Miami went on a 15-1 run in the
Right.
last 3 minutes to win that game. And then look what they end up doing. They end up going from, pretty much scraping their way out of that playing game to make it to the
Mm-hmm.
NBA Finals. So a part of you thinks to
Right.
yourself, wow, like if you had, like Alonzo Ball on this team healthy,
Mm-hmm.
it would be different,
Right.
or it could be vice versa. Well, God, we didn't even make it to the playoffs, so it just depends on how management kind of look at it. I think to me, I still like the fact that we did go to Toronto and beat them,
Mm-hmm.
and then end up falling a little bit short to Miami, which I don't even necessarily think we should even been in that predicament. Like honestly, we should at least had at least a home game in the play-in, but
Right.
it is what it is. But I mean, I would say why not? Because they pretty much did this, this whole overall overhaul a few years back. So it's kind of one of those where you just take what you got, and then when it's time to make the move, you make the move.
Right.
So to see how this goes, and then you might blow it up after this year potentially.
Right.
It just depends. and you got to
Right.
see who out there. As far as who, as far as who will be a good trade partner, like who will want those two guys, and see what you can get out of it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. So we'll talk about the Western Conference. So the same thing with this one. So what we'll do, we'll go over the first six, and then we'll do our four play-ins. So I'm gonna go with you first. What you got in the West?
I got you. I'm gonna read first and then go back. Okay. Um, first six. Okay, I got the Nuggets, the Suns, the Kings, the Lakers, the Mavs, and the Clippers. I got the Nuggets because they won the championship. The
Mm-hmm.
chemistry is great. They lost Bruce Brown, but I looked at that was just an added piece, and they probably know they wasn't going to be able to resign him anyway. But me and you kept saying, man, they had Reggie Jackson that was on the bench anyway, so they was
Yeah.
able to resign him, and then kept a center that just can come in there and give Joker some breathing room by Jordan. I'm like, damn, Jordan got him a championship. That's what's up, man. You know what I mean? What else? I don't have anything else there, but I think they they have been playing around that 4-3-2-1 for the longest. You know what I mean? They've been right there, and they got that opportunity and they went for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then I'm gonna go to the Suns, and what it was about a week ago we was talking about the bench, but I think they're gonna be okay. When I thought about it, I had to put them at number two because they really didn't have no bench. People were hurt, and they still beat the Nuggets twice. And I was like, damn, ain't nobody else really. You know what I'm saying? They beat them twice. Be like, I was like, okay. And then they just got Beal, and then they got Gordon, and then they re-signed some of the pieces that they already had. So I put them at two. Um, the Kings, I put the Kings at three. I think they're still going to be there. They still determination. I think they still going. They ain't really lose anything either, man. Let me see what I put here. I said Sabonis is a factor. I, so I think they're gonna stay there. The Lakers, I know they had a good off season, but I don't know how good they still going to be. Even though I know they were 2-10 last year, and then after the All Star, in the trade deadline, they was the best team, um, had the best record. I don't like the fact that they re-signed. What's my man's name, man?
D'Angelo Russell.
D'Angelo Russell. I wasn't happy with that, but it seemed like a lot of people still are. I think you and Da was really pushing that. Like, man, when you look at it, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I just wasn't proud of him. But I know he is the reason why they did win some games in the playoffs. Definitely Haynes, definitely Rui, um, uh, definitely Reeves. What else? Who else did they get? So I'm happy. I'm happy with the Lakers, but I just want to see what the chemistry is going to be, man. I think that's the problem with them since the bubble is that they never the same team. They just keep the same 2 or 3 players. You know what I mean? And I want them to have a core so they can keep that chemistry up. Um, then I got the Mavs. They re-signed Curry, the Cole. They got Derek Lively, and I think I mean trusting you guys. You and Da said now him and Kyrie are gonna be to pay a little bit longer, and they're gonna figure it out. And it seemed like Luca won't Kyrie there, so um, I think that's gonna be. I think they're gonna be okay. I think that it just happened. I almost feel like they gave up at the end of the season and said we just gonna get this stuff right for next season.
Yeah.
And then the Clippers, great coaching. The Clippers are always gonna be there because they got always had great coaching. They signed Westbrook real cheap. Um, the issue is Paul George and Kawhi's health. Man, wrote so small. I'm sorry, y'all. But that's why I got them right there, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I get for me, number one's got to be Denver
Right.
Nuggets. Obviously, they did lose Bruce Brown, But now I've been thinking, okay, well, Christian Braun, that's gonna be his opportunity to step up. Is it, to me, if he stepped up in the NBA Finals game, I think everything else could be a walk in the park for him. So I
Mm-hmm.
think he should. That think they'll get that squared away. I think obviously the Reggie Jackson signing as well, re-signing,
Mm-hmm.
is good. I think number two is gonna be Phoenix. I definitely think, even though it's a circus in Phoenix, and I'm still glad that Monty Williams is in Detroit. I mean, I would vouch for that. And Bradley Beal, I think that's definitely interesting. You did, obviously you did with the subtraction of a Chris Paul, you did get a Bradley Beal in the process. So I definitely think, that's going to be good for them. Then also Eric Gordon comes off the bench. I think that's going to be a very good solid, and they're going to fill out their bench with a bunch of, these. I wouldn't. They ain't even mid level. They'd be more like league minimum guys. So
Mm-hmm.
they'll fill that roster up with that. Coming in three, I think it's gonna be the LA Lakers. I think them being able to keep their core.
Right.
Obviously adding guys like Gabe Vincent,
Yes.
Torian Prince, Cam Reddish. I think those are, and then also Jackson Hayes, where those guys are. They're like the that I think cherry on top is probably a little bit more hyperbole.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like some candy coated sprinkles on top of a sundae, like or like some peanuts to a parfait, or some granola to a parfait, which is a good. I mean, it's
Right.
still good. These guys will help with their depth. So and then being able to keep their core, because we definitely thought like these had to choose between Rui or Austin Reeves. In theory, that's what we were thinking.
Right.
Going into the free agency period, like he was going to lose one of those guys, but he was able to kind of keep that young core and to keep a guy like D'Angelo Russell, who we said pretty much got up for pennies on the dollar. You got a starting point guard for 17 and a half dollars. I mean, 17 and a half million dollars at that. So, which is good. And I think it's just one of those where, he played in the Western. That was his biggest basketball ever to this point. So I mean, we kind of got to give him somewhat some grace. And he, the funny thing, that's how weird when these guys come in the league so young, and we still got to realize, even though he's been in the league for almost 8 years now, almost 2016. Well, not 15. Well, he was the 15 draft, I think. Yeah, because he was a Karl Anthony Towns, right? Yeah, he was
Right.
number 2
Right.
overall pick. Lord, so he been in the league for almost 8 years. But he's still young. That's the frightening thing about all this type of stuff. So he still got, so we still got, in essence, kind of give him grace. He's still a young guy, but God, dude, this is 9th year in the league almost. Jesus Christ, like damn, time is flying. Oh my God, this dude been almost in the league for almost 10 years. That's frightening. God, time flying. That time need to slow down a little bit. But number 4 could be the Kings. I was kind of wrestled with it because I was like 3-4 Lakers, Sacramento. But I'm gonna put it at 4 with Sacramento. I think that Chris Duarte signing, I think it's gonna be huge for them. I think he'll give them more depth on that team. Also, being able to re-sign Harrison Barnes, I think is a great.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
Yeah, and
right.
My other nephew from the University of North Carolina, so been able to get him there. Number 5, surprisingly, is gonna be the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they'll still hold afloat. I mean, obviously, when we look at the Memphis Grizzlies team of the past, where they were one of the best teams in the league, even as far as in the Western Conference, finishing second in the Western Conference. I definitely think they'll somewhat have a drop off. I think having a guy like a Marcus Smart there, man, that point guard position until Ja gets back, I think he'll be a great seat filler. They also with acquisitions of like Derrick Rose. That's another one as far as when it comes to having adults in the room, having leadership. I think that's what they desperately need. And I think you look at those. You even look at D Rose and Marcus Smart. They're gonna put their arms around Ja and go get them straight. Like if you can't, if these two guys can't get them straight, I don't think nobody else in this league can get them situated.
Can I ask
Yeah.
How long is he suspended for?
25 games.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, they surrounded him with some good guys. Like I said, if you can't fall in line with these two guys, we can't help you no more. You know, so
Right.
um then also, I think get even adding a youth, a young piece like a Josh Christopher from Houston. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's going to be interesting. How he's going to, he'll fit into that young Memphis squad. So I think look at that, and then round out my six is going to be the Clippers. I think just the Clippers. They it's one of those things where it's like we know there's going to be some times where Kawhi's going to be missing time. Paul George could be missing time. They might miss time together. One hit the next. And like what your boy Jared West said, you guys keep getting hurt. Oh my god, dude! He said that the Paul George face. I was like, dude, if you the logo can say whatever you want to say. The logo said, you guys just say hurt. So
Right.
but yeah, and with the Clippers, it's never cruise control. Yeah, most teams, sometimes during the season some teams have like cruise control for like a week or two. Like, oh man, they just rolling. You lose one night, you win the next. It's like a roller coaster with the Clippers. Like,
Right.
it's just one of those where, and it's gonna still be another bumpy ride.
Yeah.
It's still it's to me. I almost to a point if Kawhi and Paul George play for like 2 weeks straight, I'm getting paranoid because it's like, what's gonna happen? Yeah, it's I mean it's that serious. Like if they play for 2 weeks straight, I'm paranoid. If I'm a Clippers fan, I'm getting paranoid. If they playing 2 weeks straight together, I'm like, what's gonna happen?
Right.
It's too good to be true. Like so. With that being said, so who could be your and this is the thing about the Western Conference. I've left so many. I'm teasing it. I left so many good teams that like playoff caliber teams out of the playoffs and out. So it's so bizarre.
Yeah, me
So
too.
who's your final four in the Western Conference?
All right, I'm gonna do your format. I got the Warriors there. I feel like even though they signed Green, and they don't have that GM there anymore that built that team. So
Yeah.
they got Chris Paul, and they re-signed Green, but I just don't. Matter of fact, man, they could easily be out the playoffs for real, and it could be, you know what I mean. But I got the Warriors at 7. I got the Grizzlies at 8. I feel like Brooks was the heart and soul of that team, but they did sign Bain. They do have Smart there. They do have Rose there. I feel like Ja being suspended for the games that he did might hurt them. That's why I have them at 8. Um, and I got, but they still. I think what's going to be important for that team is their big man. I think if their big man, because they got Joe Jackson,
Oh, you
is
talking
Jackson,
about Jaron
Jared
Jackson?
Jackson. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
Junior.
Jared
Yeah, Jaron
Jackson,
Jackson Jr.
Jared Jackson Jr., Adams, and Clark.
Yeah, Brandon
Um,
Clark. Yeah.
I think if they stay healthy, that's what's gonna make them dangerous. You know what I mean? Because they got 3 athletic big men. You know what I mean? Like I'm telling you, like yeah, Joker, and that's how you got to look at it. Joker right now is the prototype of the NBA. Like people got to figure out a way to stop him. You know what I mean? And you got 3 big men like that can work it. You know what I mean? So I think Ja being suspended might kind of hurt them. I could be wrong though. Um, at 9, I got the Rockets. I think the Rockets is going to be better than what they think. I thought the Rockets was decent. I saw potential in the Rockets, just like OKC. You saw um, potential over the years. They just need some type of discipline, some type of structure. And I think with Madoka being there, Van Fleet, I like Dylan Brooks. You got 80 million.
Yeah.
Just thought y'all know that. What they got at the Twin, they got Whitmore, Porter Jr. I think with it doing, I don't know. I think it's gonna be something else pop up down there in Houston that is gonna make them a little more intriguing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If I was Harden though, with that coach there, I think that actually might be his best chance. You think you really making it fake? I mean,
Right.
you know what Harden's problem is he don't like playing with other stars. He just need to be honest, man. Like every time he played with a star, he has an issue. Like his best what when Chris Paul was there, that was his
Mhm.
biggest threat, right? And then next
Yeah.
season, they ain't want to play with each other. He talking about going to play with the Clippers, but you said you went there and told them that you didn't want to. I love Westbrook, and Westbrook said I love Harden, but we don't want to play together. Anyway, moving
Right.
on. So I got 9. I got the Rockets. At 10, I got the Pelicans. I looked at their roster. They basically got the same thing, and if they the same roster, but if they can get Zion, I always looked at the Pelicans like this.
Yeah.
They got a formula. They got weapons. They got a whole bunch. So they could definitely be a playoff team. But with Zion there, they actually is more of a Western Conference, maybe even winning a championship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he give you more than what you think that he can give you.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? Like he give you an easy 30 points with the 3 pointers. You know, he make his free throws. He can bang on the inside. You know what I mean? It's a lot of things there. It's just you get hurt.
Yeah.
So that's my 10. I ain't gonna talk too
Yeah.
much.
So I got number 7. I got the Dallas Mavericks. Obviously bringing in Seth Curry, and also Kyrie re-signed, and then also now, as we talked about earlier, them getting Grant Williams. I think definitely think that's going to be good for them. As far as just adding some toughness to the team, that's concerned. Number 8 is going to be the Golden State Warriors. Very interested of how this Chris Paul thing is going to work. I think that's going to probably be one of the intriguing storylines heading into this season. And then I'm thinking it's going to be a great opportunity, and this is also coming from Draymond Green's mouth, where the success of Jonathan Kuminga. I think the biggest beneficiary of a Chris Paul acquisition is potentially Jonathan Kuminga, where he can set up that pick and roll game with him. So
Mm-hmm.
if you can get him there, and it's kind of curious how they're gonna put how Chris Paul's gonna fit in their rotation. So it's gonna be definitely interesting how that's all gonna play out. So I look at them. Number 9, I'm gonna say Minnesota. I I
Yeah.
like obviously with them having Anthony Edwards. I think this is Ant's team, so I think he's definitely gonna. I think once again gonna take another leap, and just see how everybody else fall in line. Their only really big acquisition was essentially getting Shake Melton, so I
Mm-hmm.
think that's gonna be kind of an interesting dynamic. And then round out my 10th one, it's got to be the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I knew you gonna do that.
I they're a
I ain't mad at
scary
that though.
good team.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that though.
I think with them, especially if you get a healthy Chet Holmgren, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be great. And then now you add in a veteran presence as a Patty Mills. That's definitely going to be interesting because that team is really going to be they're another exciting team. I mean, you got Josh Giddey, SGA, Dort,
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Williams.
Mm-hmm.
So they're another team because they made the play in last year even without Chet Holmgren. So to me, I think if you can get and Chet been looking okay. I think he had a game the other day. He looked pretty solid. He put
Okay.
on some pounds. I think he gained. I think he was like once upon a time he was like 190. Now he's like 213. So he's bulking up. So I think that's kind of a good sign to kind of see him putting on some weight. I mean even though him at 213 is still a small frame for him, but hey, it was better than 190. So, but I think he'll be fine in this league. He bulked up, so and I definitely think he'll be a definitely interested piece for this Oklahoma City Thunder team.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely think they're good, and there's a lot
I
of
do.
teams. I want to put New Orleans because if Zion is healthy, they unstoppable. I mean, they unstoppable, but they're a really good team because
Right.
prior to his injury, New Orleans was rolling.
Right.
I mean, they was like number one in the East. I mean, number one in the West at the time.
What
I
time?
think.
Vibes, let me tell you.
Yeah,
They got 3 dudes. Their main 3 players always get hurt, which is
yeah,
Ingram, McCollum, and Zion. And then
yeah.
the messed up thing is I think if you have those players get hurt, but you still got a point guard that can run things, and Alvarado is what really
Yeah.
hurt them. Once he got hurt, it wasn't, wasn't the same. You know what I mean?
But
But
they got them. Yeah, and that's one thing. And then I even like low key Houston as well too. I think they could be a scary team, like we talked about it on Sunday, where they're not going to be what you call you go into that city, you BS, because
mhm.
they're going to be a team that's going to be a force. But yeah, I do. Nah, James Harden, I want him to stay away from that team. He got to stay away from that
Look,
team.
he has to
He
look.
no bad influences.
He need to go to 3 places that the scrippers is gonna be all right. And I hate even doing that, but it's the truth. That's what make him happy. So it needs to. I'm gonna be honest with you. It needs to be Houston, Atlanta. You know he ain't going to Miami.
He was in Brooklyn.
You know,
Don't sleep down there.
I don't want
There's
no.
out
I
there.
don't want my dancer saying "dead ass, you sexiest." I don't want her.
Oh no, they be no. It's different. Like they be coming from California. They be imported. I kid you not.
Look, Atlanta or what? Okay, what about him going to? What about DC? You think he'd be okay with the Wizards? I mean, DC
I mean,
got.
if we look at it from a basketball perspective, no, because that's another one where you got Cal. Like just imagine Cal Kuzma, Jordan Poole, and like he need to stay where he at. I mean, to me, my perspective, like Houston, I hate the Houston move because this is a young team. Now, if this was like a Steven Salas ran team, and I hate to say this out loud, but like that probably could fly. But Ebay's not he's not taking that mess. Like he's not gonna take that type of mess for no James Harden, man. It's like they don't need that. They need adults in the room, like Kendrick Perkins said and Richard Jefferson. They need real adults in that locker room.
James Harden is
Don't
the
talk.
NBA
Don't yeah.
is the NBA's Antonio Brown.
Nah, he ain't that crazy. Nah, he just yeah. It's just the thing with him is he just you don't need that on your team.
He's
Like
just an LA dude.
they're a young team. They need to figure it out. Especially that team needed some type of discipline because and unfortunately, and it's sad to say it like this, but like the prisoners ran the asylum under Steven Salas, and I hate to say that, but it's the truth. It's
Bro,
the God honest truth.
John
Unfortunately,
Wall is really out of the league. Like
yeah, yeah, he's gone.
going, nobody's saying nothing.
I mean, it's still early though. I mean, he won't gonna be a part of this wave of free agency. Like he's like the last call for alcohol type of player at this point.
Word. Okay.
Yeah, he's like last call for alcohol. You might hear something before
But
football season starts.
I'm gonna tell you, like for me, let me tell you, the Timberwolves. The playing game had me so nervous against the Lakers because you get to. I watched every game. Every team that beat them, they had the worst 3-point defense ever.
Yeah,
And the Timberwolves scared me because once it's Collins, once he get to going, man, I was like, oh
yeah.
my god, you know what I mean? It's everybody. I just think that bottom. I love the playing game. People don't like it, but I love the playing game. It makes them GMs have to work.
But yeah, and it's kind of one of the things. It helps the regular season because like if I'm like in that 4th through 7, I'm like 4th through 8. Oh, I'm making sure I get my team some a week off.
Right. Like in this last playoffs, you really got to look at it like, damn, Miami made it all the way to the finals.
Right.
Then you got to look at the Lakers. Look where they went to. They was 2-2. Like
yeah, and they went to the West Conference Finals.
you got to look at that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You really do, man.
Yeah.
And you got to work the system, the players, man. Like you really got to pick them right. You got to stay 2 steps ahead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think that's something that probably Giannis is looking at too. Like some of them teams that's making it to the like that's they always number one. Probably saying, man, we need somebody a GM that's really gonna make sure that we got dudes on a like Rob Pelinka, what he said about told Reeves, like, man, if you get undrafted, I'm coming to get you. You know what I'm saying? That's the
Yeah,
stuff that I'm talking about. Like you gotta stay 2 steps ahead.
yeah, and that's one of those where it's just the Western Conference definitely, and it's. I remember one year we were like, I can make a case for all 15 teams, and
Right.
it's almost similar to that, this year again. Like, I mean, I can even see potentially San Antonio doing some stuff. Not saying that I can see them, and I don't see them. I see them as a team that could potentially win 30 games.
I
30,
was think
35, maybe 35.
I was thinking that
Yeah.
too. I was thinking that too, and the reason I was thinking that is because I'm
Yeah.
like, that would be great exposure for the player that they putting all the hype on. Was like, okay,
Yeah.
let's see what we got now. Well, we got an opportunity. Let's go ahead and move some of these. You know what I mean? I think since the pandemic, also since COVID, where they had to really start looking to bring guys in for like 10-day contracts and things of that nature. I really because I think the Spurs need to be in the playoffs, man. Like they've been at the bottom of the barrel for a minute.
They all right. They had a hell of a run. They got to think about it. Because I mean, you went from like 97 to maybe what about 2016,
Yo,
17? Yeah, it's like
right.
that's a 20 plus year run
That's why I
almost.
was telling my dad. I said, Dad, if you really want to know who Kobe's arch rival was, I said,
Shoot.
look at Tim Duncan's stats and look at his. And I was like, bro, they was going at it.
Yeah, I mean, they had almost like a Patriot like type run, like in the
Yeah.
NFL, where they was in the playoffs. Yeah, I mean, but they'll be back. Trust me, they good.
You don't think?
Getting Wimby, I think that definitely helps them.
Does he look solid? Because I was like, when they that tall, man.
He hasn't played yet. I mean, he hasn't played in the summer league yet. I think he'll play in Vegas, but he ain't traveled to Sacramento from what I was told.
Oh,
So he
okay.
ain't traveled with them to Sacramento, but
When they
he be in
big
Las
like
Vegas
that,
next week.
man, they tall like that, they usually have like knee and leg
Yeah,
problems. You know.
yeah. He got a brother that's like 6'7". I was like, bro, we're about to have the Wimby brothers soon, and they sister like the sister like 6 feet tall. Yeah, they're like, they some
That's
tall.
crazy.
They all hit the genetic lottery.
For real.
Facts.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm definitely had a brother gonna be. God, like, dude, he's 6'7". I think I think he's still a teenager. Well, yeah, he got to be a teenager because Wimby 19.
That's crazy.
Bro, that man was born in January 2004. Like, damn. Like, I'm telling you, man, that's like, I remember the first time, like, I started, like, really diving into stuff, like, NBA wise. Because I remember the first scouting report I read was, like, Justice Winslow. He used to play for Duke, and he's been around the league, from, is he still in the league? Come to think about it. But I remember when I read his bio, he was born in 1996. I thought I felt old then, but Lord, Wimby was born January 4th, 2004. I'm like, what in the hell? Like 2004? God, that is so crazy. Bro, same age as Bronny.
Right.
Crazy. Born the same
Crazy.
year. Like, oh my God, like
That's crazy.
that is crazy. I'm like,
Right.
oh, I feel old. I'm like that. If that'll make you feel old, I'm like, and it's gonna get even worse because
That's
next year
why.
prospects, yeah,
Right. That's why I said, man, I know it's about time for that dude to retire. Because I was like, the way they laid all that stuff down, that's crazy.
yeah, 2004. I like, yikes. Like, damn, if you don't
Telling
feel
you,
old, then
telling you, Brian, you better stop
yeah,
it, man. I remember being
but
at the
yeah,
club and I'm sitting there dancing to Poison from Velvet DeVoe, and somebody was like,
yeah, man.
somebody grabbed me and I said, "Hey, what you doing here?" They was like, "Oh, I'm 18." And I was like, "Oh, hell no."
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it happened that quick too, man. That's how crazy
Right.
it is. But yeah, man. But it's gonna every year you see these prospects. Next year, Them guys could be born in 2005. Like, oh my god. Like you be thinking to yourself, dang, like
that ain't even cool because my daughter's born in '07. So
right,
that's
right.
crazy.
That's how I just feel. I know, man. I just be like, it's crazy. I remember like my cousin born in '06. I'm like, no, that man almost he'd be 17 this year. I'm like, this is wild. But hey, it is what it is. But yeah. So
It's weird too because you just realizing like how young the league really is. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yep. Youth movement, yep. Yeah. Yeah. And then you think to yourself, yeah, the oldest players in the league be 39. Well, the oldest player in the league is 39 now, and Andre Iguodala. So yeah, and yeah, man, it's wild. It's really wild.
It's just
Really wild times. Yeah, man. It's always a trip. And you gotta think, dude, they are 20 years apart. Him and Wemby's like 20 years apart.
if did you hear Andre Iguodala when he talked about the block? He said, "Man, Jr. came this way, so he said I tried to flip the ball like this, and then all of a sudden I heard boom."
Yeah, I know, man.
he
And
said,
he came out like a freight train, man.
he said, "Man, I still hear it to this day." Boom. He said. So I was thinking,
Yeah.
man, I should have went the other way. He said, LeBron had that side covered. Too.
Yeah, which is crazy because in the beginning, you wouldn't even see LeBron in the frame.
Right.
That's the frightening thing about that play is like if you'd have been like if somebody would have been like when he first was on a break and they paused it and was like, okay, what's gonna happen? He's gonna go for a dunk, a layup,
Right.
it's gonna get blocked. It's
Right.
gonna get blocked by JR or somebody else.
Right.
You wouldn't took the ladder because you're like, oh shoot, like he came out of nowhere, almost like a safety, like a strong safety in football, and just like came up and just like boom.
You ever played the video
Wow.
game and he did that shit?
Chase down block?
Yeah,
Nah, I never did one.
like yeah, that shit crazy, bro. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I think I was playing with them with the Lakers and they did it to Harden. That wasn't me, it was the computer. I was
Yeah.
like, and then he hit it so hard that the ball went like the whole game shook. And I was like, yo, that's scary. That
Yeah,
shit's
man.
scary, bro. For real.
Yeah, when he was in the frame, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But it'd be like that. But yeah,
That's the
man.
greatest thing about sports. I mean, when that happened, think about everybody that was at the bar, family members watching. You know what I mean? For me,
Yeah.
I was with my brother, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, you know what I'm saying? It's stuff people dreamed about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was wild. It was a wild finish.
Right.
But yeah, man. So we'll put a bow on tonight's Couch Coach Live. Any final thoughts before we head on out?
Oh man, great show, man. I'm actually, I know you really deep down you did this to be nice because I know you NFL ready. You know, I see Jordan put a little comment on. I know y'all NFL ready. I know y'all legit.
Not really. I'm kind of I'm mellow. I'm chill. I'm kind of like I'm good. I'm like it's gonna come. So it's like
Right.
it'll be here. Trust me. Training camp is what about 2.5 weeks.
Right. Right.
It's coming, and it's kind of one of the things like yeah, it's coming, and it ain't gonna stop. The train ain't moving for nothing.
You got any plans for
What?
the anniversary?
Not quite. I'm still trying to figure it out. I do want to. I'm trying to tie some loose ends on a couple of things, so still kind of work on that. So I'm hoping those kind of come to fruition in the next couple in the next 48 to 72 hours. So we shall see. But
Man, appreciate you, man, and great show. You know what I'm saying? Got me
yeah,
diving in. It's weird too, man. It seems like it's gonna be a real complete season. Like I don't see too many weak players. Even some of the teams that you think is weak, they can have a good chance to make a run.
yeah, and that's another one where the seasons get ready to start in essentially 2.5 months. Training camp's gonna be at the end of September,
Right.
and then we'll have pretty much essentially about 3 months from now it'll be start of another NBA season, and
Right.
then we got football season being somewhat full string at that time, and then you got almost a conclusion of the baseball season, the beginning of hockey season, that somewhat in NASCAR going to home stretch. So it's a lot of stuff be going on during that time. So
Right.
it's gonna definitely so these kind of times are really kind of cool where hey, it's the calm before the storm. You
Right.
just, this it's the summertime. That's where it's like that's kind of the good thing about all this. And we got summer league going on, so that's another thing too. That's another interesting thing that's going on now. So yeah. So football season is definitely get ready to come, and it'll be here before you know it. You'll have training camp, preseason, and then the regular season, and yeah, so
Right.
definitely gonna be fun. Definitely be fun, fun, fun.
Right.
Social media, where they can find you on social media.
Oh man, DT Morgan 70 Instagram, Deshaun Morgan Facebook. I finally done jumped over that bump and went to TikTok and starting to look at things.
Yeah, yeah, man. TikTok I love TikTok. Like it's a good tool. It's a good tool to do some stuff, and then also like even to produce content. Yeah, I like it. Yeah,
Right.
TikTok is legit. Yeah, so pretty much social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Couch Coach Live, pretty much any social media, we're on there as well. So just Google Couch Coach Live. You have all that stuff is there. Check out the website couchcoachlive.com. And check
Hmm.
out the podcast anywhere you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, we're there as well. And also check out our YouTube page, Couch Coach Live slash at couch coach youtube.com/ at couch coach live. And yeah, man, so this has been this week's Couch Coach Live. So with that being said, man, we'll catch you guys next week, and we're out.
You're welcome.
Oh, before we head out, I forgot, shout out to our guy Jordan, shout out to Jordan, and then shout out to my guy Danny. Appreciate
Right.
y'all fellas for tuning
Oh,
in,
Danny.
man. So yeah, we here. So catch y'all next week, man. This has been this week's Couch Coach Live, man, and we out for real this time.
Right. You're welcome.
All right, all right.